Tell me a little bit about why this is interesting.
So, I mean, okay. So Phazon's got the sword, right? And it's a very similar stat spread. You know, you got high dex, you got high speed, but this time I'm very curious to see if you can use that scythe to do some big things. The scythe dare, especially, right? A lot of the times he'd stay up in the air and he'd use these falling side airs on both the spear and the sword, but it never got the diagonal. It was always very horizontal. And so against Wilson, maybe he can catch out those Qatar and Axe downlights with the scythe dare instead.
Right, and we're already seeing a mix-up here as we go to small ball haven. No, nice rising side air coming out. I love that side stick coming out from Phazon. There goes for the neutral stick as well. Gets the recovery. Wilson dangerously close to being KO'd off the top super early as that Nair comes out. D-Light recovery. Phazon looking completely different here on this new legend pick. Wilson trying to catch his bounds. Looks for that downlight. Phazon repositioning and using these signatures to great accord, but the down air barely clips off the side of the stage there. Phazon makes it back, tries to chain dodge, but Wilson has now managed to make things a little bit more even. Sidelight comes out, Nair as well. Recovery does not quite hit, but the weapon toss comes out. Phazon doesn't get that scythe recovery, and now both players are at kill percent. Excellent side stick from Wilson, and even avoids the landing lag by having the Ragnar Axe side stick go off the stage. The property is a little bit different there.
And gets a little bit more of an arc, and
That's
now
true.
Phazon down a stock. We'll see if he pulls out another side stick. He did indeed. Not enough to kill, though, but the side air is going to finish it off.
Caught Wilson not trying to go for the side of the stage and said, okay, I'll just throw out a Sarah. The worst that happens, I miss you and nothing punishes me.
I mean, he used the sword side stick a lot on Hattori, but every time he get punished, it sends him forward. This time, with the sword side stick, he stays in place.
That's an excellent point. And now, throwing out that signature there, wasn't able to find it. He's trying to go for a scythe string, goes for a hard read, it doesn't quite connect, although I like the idea, but Wilson finding that neutral sig, that's like the primary difference that we saw between Doppy and Wilson. He likes to go for the neutral sig read, Doppy likes to go for the ground pound read. And now, Wilson trying to find that down air, waits out Phazon's dodge, but much to his disappointment, was punished for it, and the recovery comes up from Phazon. Wilson did not have very many jumps left. He still doesn't have very many jumps back. Okay, finally lands, but that's a lot of damage that Phazon was able to put on before Wilson touched the ground.
Phazon now trying to get back on stage. He's lost his sight that he was doing work with. He is going to try to go back with unarmed. Turns back around Neutralite. He doesn't even care about that weapon. Lets Wilson go under him with that side signature. Finally picked up the sword. Wilson looking for a recovery after he connected that downlight. Phazon finally connects a neutral signature he'd been looking for so long, but still unable to get this kill on Wilson. And both players now in the red looking for a kill opportunity.
Yeah, Sidelight did not connect. Wilson was able to get a down air punish, but that's not going to lead to a KO. He needs to be able to find these falling Sares, but instead, a heavy punish from Phazon there catches Wilson's landing. Wasn't expecting it, and he takes the lead.
Good side stick coming out from Phazon, and now we'll see if he can pull out anything with this scythe while he's got Wilson in white. Seems like a good opportunity. Wilson, on the other hand, looking for a kill opportunity. Is he going to go for the edge guard? He is. Phazon looking for the opportunity to go for that dare. Would have put Wilson in a terrible position, but he's not quite going to get it. Instead, Phazon.
Little late on that punish from Wilson, and ended up getting himself punished. Throws the Katars down. That might be enough with the axe as well. He was so damaged, it just took 2 weapon tosses. Wilson was like, okay, forget this. Starts picking up everything that spawns on the stage and just tosses it off the map.
Just throw it.
Takes out his opponent along with the weapons, and now with the Katars off stage, Phazon finds himself completely even against his opponent here in this game number 1.
And now Wilson waiting out that spot dodge, getting the recovery into the recovery. Phazon trying to go for a hard read with the doubles, or with the side sig off stage. Goes for it again, but Wilson's not biting. There's another recovery. Gets the axe, goes for the recovery there. That probably would have put Phazon in a very dangerous position. Looks like a kill. There it is.
Wow, it's so great to be able to see Wilson mix up how many things that he tries to go after. When he gets that combo, right, you open up with a side light, you get that GC, or you get that neutral air, and you can go for a GC downlight for damage, you can go for the ground pound for the dodge read.
He's playing Diana.
We're seeing another legend swap.
He's throwing out everything he can.
That's interesting. That's so interesting to me because we just got out of that match against Doppy where I felt like he was really starting to figure out the Ragnar matchup.
With the Hattori?
With the Hattori. He stuck to it the entire time.
I think there's a difference between Doppy and Wilson.
That's true.
I think he couldn't do the same thing against Wilson.
Regardless, to see how this works for him, that was a very close game, even though Wilson had an explosive combo to be able to end it. And now we're here on Diana. Goes for the neutral stick, dodges out of the way of it this time. Phazon, with Diana, we see 2 weapons that we haven't seen much of this tournament, which is bow and guns.
Wilson going for the gravity cancel neutral signature against Phazon twice. Not biting either time. We'll see if he instead goes for the recovery later. But first, Phazon's going to get a nice downline to neutral six, send Wilson off stage. He's going to go for the edge guard. I was waiting for a dare or a ground pound from Phazon, but neither work. Instead, Phazon going to avoid that recovery this time.
Yeah, this map being a little different from Shipwreck in the sense that Wilson actually can have time to touch the stage, as opposed to Shipwreck and 2 down 6 coming up from the X in a row. Phazon does not manage to fall into those hurt boxes, but now Wilson getting hit by that side stick from Diana. Is that going to be the stock? He has an opportunity to get an edge guard here, but no, just a falling stair. Wilson manages to touch the wall, tries to recover high. No, just touches the ground. Phazon lets him back on while denying the weapons, but he's got to be careful when he throws out that bow side stick because it lasts for so long.
Lot of frames.
Wilson just looked at him. He had a time to stare at him and say, "What are you doing?" before he hit him with that fist. And now a nice double recovery coming out from Wilson, using that weak recovery after the initial one to continue adding on more damage. Recovery hits. Will he go for the neutral stick? It misses. Phazon gets that side air, but it's still not the stock. Wilson finding the tip of that nair. He's getting hit by so many moves from Phazon, but they're not KOing. There is the dash, pivot, ground pound that we've been seeing from a lot of players today, but Phazon took a huge beating off of that stock.
And now Phazon's going to come around with the guns, gets a really nice dash jump into pivot dare, and I thought we might see a huge string there, but it wasn't quite working out. Instead, Phazon's going for that gravity cancel down signature, and Diana having 2 reversal signatures to just whip someone away into the opposite direction. He knew to look out for it off stage. There's a nice neutral signature on Wilson. Isn't going to be able to finish off this stock. Goes for a down air instead. Not quite going to find it.
Nice neutral light comes out from Wilson. Goes for that ground pound. Surprising mix-up from Wilson that we haven't seen before, and what do you know? It leads to his death. It leads to his death. I hate that we have to repeat it every time that we see it. But it's good that he's trying things, but maybe he has the time to do it. There's the bracket reset that he's got. He's also up a game, and Phazon's pretty close to being able to get KO'd here as the side stick comes out. Does not quite hit. Phazon goes for a really deep ground pound there. Does not quite connect, and the down sticks aren't hitting either, but a neutral light catches him out of that GC down light. Yeah. It was an incredibly good interrupt, actually.
Now Wilson trying to find this kill finisher. Can't quite find. He's going for another interesting recovery as it clips the side of the map. Phazon staying alive.
Finds that falling side air, though, and Wilson, surprisingly, even though the stock took a lot of time to close out, he didn't take any damage while doing so. So it might as well have been like a spawn KO. As he picks up the guitars, side light, neutral light, gets a good recovery read off that dodge. Another side light comes out. Wilson putting the hurt on the Phazon here, but Phazon finding his own gun strings, tries to go for that pivot down air. Neutral air gets stuffed by Wilson's down air, and now blows are being exchanged back and forth. Neutral sig missed, punished by a down air. Nice neutral light from Phazon, and the neutral sig read doesn't quite connect, but I love the idea.
Ooh, Wilson almost getting that down light. Instead, Phazon getting his own neutral light. Nice gravity cancel down light into the recovery, and that's going to kill very early.
That was the best way that Phazon could have positioned that down air. He read Wilson falling into the hitboxes almost and was able to pick it up with the recovery to be able to get that KO off the top. We see Wilson going behind Phazon here. Phazon waits it out, jumps, and then GC down light. Yep. Catches Wilson as he falls, gets the recovery, and because he was so high up in the air as it happened, he was able to get that KO. Even it up 1-1. We're going back again to small Brawlhaven. We've got Diana being continued to be played by Phazon.
Maybe this is the key. Phazon looking pretty good after his gunplay, which we've seen before from Phazon.
Right, we say typically Phazon to us is a Lucian player, which is guitars and guns. Nice neutral stick coming out. That's Wilson's bread and butter there as he manages to put on a little bit of damage on Phazon. Goes off stage, doesn't get punished for it, and he's dodging all of these side lights from Phazon here. But Phazon's putting on a ton of pressure, and Wilson can't seem to find a way in. There's a good downlight, but downlight as an anti-air doesn't work quite as well against guns as it does against other melee weapons because of how the disjointed hitboxes of guns to down air functions.
Phazon sending Wilson off stage, not quite finding anything afterwards. Wilson continues to put the hurt with these guitars in the form of recovery and all of these signatures. Phazon looking for the greedy play and tries to go for that down signature, but Wilson not falling into it would have spelled his demise. Instead, both players going for all these anti-airs. The side stick from Phazon actually gets the kill on Wilson.
Risky signature, as we said, lots of frames, but if it connects, it's going to KO, especially on the edge of the map. Wilson now going for a dive kick, playing a little bit uncharacteristic like himself. Gets a nice neutral there, finds the axe, goes for the neutral stick, and that's punished. Phazon is really comfortable here with these guns in this matchup. Wilson tries to go for a weapon toss to be able to get the KO. Goes for that sliding down light recovery. Nothing's hitting. Phazon is recovering quite well against Wilson's Ragnar here in game number 3. Neutral light does not connect, but Wilson doesn't find any KO opportunities off of it.
I love that when Wilson sends Phazon up in the air, Phazon now stands directly above Wilson as he's coming back down because he knows Wilson's going to be looking for that guitar recovery that does the diagonal.
Goes for the weapon toss, but Phazon just punishes him with a nice neutral there. Weapon toss goes straight up, and Wilson's continued to be denied by weapons. Spawns in a pretty nice place, but a recovery comes out, and Phazon's okay with that. He gets hit by a Sair, but he managed to put Wilson to deep yellow, nearly orange. Wilson has an opportunity to even that up with a guitar string here if he gets a nice dodge read, but Phazon finding a nice neutral light into side light. Here's the guitar string that we were talking about. Maybe goes in front of the neutral light, but no, Phazon manages to get a decent amount of damage and picks up the guns once again.
Wilson now, he's got Phazon off stage. I wonder if we'll see more of those down signatures that we've sort of missed from Wilson. He hasn't been getting those as much against Phazon anymore.
No.
Phazon's been very careful of it.
The down sig coming up from Phazon. What a crazy early KO. Phazon's signature usages have been amazing on Diana.
He's got the Diana 6 down.
Yes, he has. And that down sig is so devastating to get hit by just because of how it works and where it throws you. Wilson's trying to put the damage back onto Phazon here, but Phazon's solidly in the lead here in this game number 3. Ground pound connects, tries to go for a downer as well. Wilson, careful, recovers underneath the stage, manages to make himself back up, and he gets a nice down light. No side light follow-up, down air recovery. End of the recovery manages to connect, and Phazon finding a nice falling there into neutral sig. Weapon toss comes out. Recovery. Phazon having such creative strings here with the bow.
This is an old Phazon. This is the creative gun Phazon that we've seen in the past that we were sort of missing when he went on this Hattori rampage. And I'm glad we're seeing it again against Wilson because I think it is the key that Phazon needs to finally crack the grand finals here.
Sidestick comes out, and that nearly KOs. If that was any closer to the left side of the map, Wilson would have lost that stock and been going to a game 4. There is that dash pivot ground pound that he's been getting so much. Wilson nearly getting JV'd. Loses game number 3. Phazon's 2-1 up against Wilson here and has the opportunity for a bracket reset.
Phazon staring at a bracket reset thanks to the Diana switch, and he's going to continue. He's not going to give it up. Wilson and Phazon. I'm curious where Wilson's going to go. It is going to be Shipwreck. Okay. I almost think Wilson would benefit from a larger map just because a lot of these signatures that Phazon's pulling out are just killing Wilson extremely early.
The one stage that we've seen Wilson actually do well off stage on is Shipwreck.
That's true. That's true. We'll see if it works out for him in this instance or if Wilson's going to need to change things up if this bracket reset happens.
Wilson seems to be losing out a little bit on these exchanges. Sidelights him off the side of the stage. That side's caught out by the downers. Guns might actually be the answer to Wilson's playstyle here. As like we said, we have seen barely any guns all this tournament, including NA and EU. Recovery comes out, but Wilson's so close to kill percent. So many signatures will KO. Nice recovery from Wilson. He has an opportunity for that down take, but the weapons toss stops Wilson from even having the opportunity to throw out the move. Weapon toss forces him to go high, but that recovery, once again, stopped by the gun down air. Almost everything Wilson has been doing as an anti-air doesn't work against how Phazon is landing with guns.
And Phazon has much more secure landing options. Wilson's going to be looking even more for a grounded playstyle. Does get the neutral sig there. Phazon jumps into it after being on the ground.
Yeah, much to my surprise, Wilson takes the first stock here in game number 4. Wilson, well,
it's gone. It's gone.
It is gone.
Pick him up, whip him down, and take your stock back.
Phazon goes back to the guns that he was being able to get so much damage on originally. I feel like he's going for the style of, okay, put up the damage with the guns, KO with the bow. Usually what most players that main a legend specifically have that sort of play style where they use one weapon for racking up damage and the other one for racking up kills. But now Phazon going with those guns, finds that sidelight, putting out those hurt boxes. Wilson does not get the recovery follow-up. I feel like if he went for a pivot GC neutral sig, it would have worked. He doesn't end up going for it either, but hey, damage is damage. Neutral sig catches it, and oh, that was so close. Okay,
it's okay. He just does it again.
Yep. Wilson has those streaks of just like, okay, neutral sig hit, let's just keep doing it until it misses. And you know what? It doesn't. He ends up getting that KO, and now this is solidly in Wilson's favor. Shipwreck really seeming to be favoring him here in game number 4. Nice neutral light. Neutral sig does not come out from the guitars. Phazon's got to be careful. There's not too much stage to grab on there. We're seeing the down six from Wilson once again, and nice patience. Phazon trying to go for that GC downlight that we saw in game number 2, and Wilson's waiting it out. Recovery comes out. Doesn't get that down sig, but Wilson has got Phazon feeling really uncomfortable on this weapon that he was almost bodying him on earlier. Nice combo from Phazon off stage, but Wilson manages to get the recovery. Neutral sig doesn't hit. GC side stick sends Wilson flying. Does not quite hit, and the Sair comes out from Wilson, and that side stick catches him as he lands. It almost looked like Wilson was throwing at a move, and it got caught by that side stick.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
He really thought he had the area to work with, but that side signature did sort of whip around the bow, catch Phazon a little bit above, a little bit behind, but it doesn't matter. Wilson gets the recovery, and we're going to game 5 here. You talked earlier about how it seemed like Phazon's Diana was the key to landing back on the ground, but Wilson just sort of turned that around and said, no,
well, and
no.
I think the stage had a large part to play
true.
there.
That's true.
There wasn't any off stage for Phazon to work at all, and that's like one of the few stages where, we've been talking about the Lucent. This is the identity of Phazon for me.
It's tournament stock.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to see it. Shipwreck immediately taken out. He has the same idea. Okay, I don't want to go back there. Mammoth Fortress are almost like our signature stage for Brawlhalla is coming out here in game number 5, and this is going to decide whether Phazon takes the bracket reset, tries to go for the championship, or straight to the point Wilson becomes the Brawlhalla North American Summer Champion. We're going into game number 5 here, and already we're fighting in the sky with unarmed combat. Recovery comes out. Phazon finds the guns, goes for that pivot down air, does not quite connect, and the falling side air from Wilson to the down air. Wilson has Phazon off stage on that Mammoth platform, which is now moving in favor of Wilson here as he manages to land onto it. Nice downlight. Anti-air coming out from Wilson once again. He's not getting hit by any of these Phazon strings, and a sidelight gets that GC neutral stick, doesn't connect, and Phazon actually gets the punish. An excellent gun string coming out.
And Wilson continuing to use these anti-airs, keeping Phazon off of the ground. He's looking for the neutral stick here yet again, but Phazon quickly fast falls back down. However, those exclamation points are coming out. There's a recovery to punish Phazon coming around. Wilson isn't going to be able to get the final hit here, but the side air is going to send Phazon off stage. He still doesn't have a weapon. Wilson is continuing this pressure. He sees the turnaround neutralite from players.
I really feel like Phazon should have just dashed back, run back to get that weapon. Very rarely are you going to have an opportunity to punish an Axe player with a standing neutralite like that, and he finds himself getting stared to his death. Phazon getting carried around by Wilson's guitars here. Nice side air, tries to go for the neutral stick, but it's just punished by the down air. Wilson trying to find this nair, gets hit by that down stick from Phazon, and chasing his opponent off the stage evens things up very well because he needed to do that by the rate that he was losing neutral against Wilson's guitars there. Nice neutralite comes out. He's managing to make the damage a little bit more even. Nice sidelight coming out from Wilson, doesn't get the neutral stick read that he likes, but oh no, the recovery just barely misses, but Phazon now carrying him even higher into the sky. Both players going for so much aerial combat. Neutral stick connects. Wilson's getting hit by a lot of these Lucian signatures.
Ooh, and now Wilson stopping that dare with the downlight, sends Phazon off stage. Is Wilson going to get greedy? Is he going to go for an attack? He does go for that side sig, but Phazon isn't able to get a huge punish because he waited for the platform to show up.
Nice neutral sig coming out from Phazon, or side sig rather. And now Phazon trying to find some sort of maybe D-light setup, something to get into a recovery with the guns. Avoids that unarmed recovery just barely because he really needs to. That Sarah from the guitars only not killing because it hits him into the stage first. Recovery comes out, and no matter how high Lucian's defense is, that's it. And Phazon is now on tournament stock. He needs to find this KO, and he needs to not take too much damage if he wants a chance at the bracket reset. Otherwise, straight to point Wilson's going to run away with the Summer Championship. Nice neutral sig, trying to go for the read. There's the down sig, hits him into the stage, doesn't quite get the KO. Will he go for the recovery? Another down sig maybe. The ground pound comes out, but Phazon doesn't connect. Wilson, however, is not going to try to go for a punish. Interrupts that down sig opportunity from Phazon. 2 neutralites in a row. Neutral sig does not hit, and Wilson is just waiting for all of these signatures. Phazon taking so much damage. Side sig gets the KO, and now it's 1-1. Phazon has his opportunity.
Phazon has the opportunity, but he is in yellow health. Wilson is going to pick up that axe. I'm going to see if he's able to get the follow-ups on the sidelight into the nairs that he's gotten so far. Phazon's going to be able to avoid the option, but it might not even matter. Wilson's playing a different game this time. He's got a lot of these side airs into the dares. Phazon struggling to get back on stage. He's got Qatar nairs, though.
Ooh, and the down air tries to go for a hard read, but the recovery just barely doesn't hit at the very end of that hitbox. And neutral sig hits, and Wilson does it! He kills Phazon off of the top. Game number 5 goes over to him, and straight to the point, Wilson is the Brawlhalla North America Summer Champion.
Straight to the point, Wilson